Assalamualaikum. तो हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे hallmarks of the cancer, in which the next one is sustained angiogenesis. Angiogenesis means the sprouting or the formation of new blood vessel from the already existing blood vessel. As the cancer cell grows rapidly, so they continuously require oxygen and nutrients and the removal of the metabolic waste for which they need continuous blood supply. So the tumor cell they form new capillaries by the process of the angiogenesis. If there is no angiogenesis, then the solid tumor will not go more than 1 to 2 millimeters. Normally, the angiogenesis is controlled by the balance between the pro-angiogenic factors and the anti-angiogenic factors. The pro-angiogenic factors they include the vascular endothelial growth factors, fibroblast growth factors, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and the platelets activating factor and angiogenin. And the anti-angiogenic factors they include thrombospondin, angiostatin, and the endostatin. And the anti-angiogenic factors they inhibit the process of the angiogenesis. But in cancer cell, the balance between the pro-angiogenic factors and the anti-angiogenic factors is lost, and there is increase in concentration of pro-angiogenic factors and decrease in concentration of the anti-angiogenic factors, which act as a switch on power, inducing angiogenesis. And the angiogenic factors they are released from the tumor cell, inflammatory cells, endothelial cell, and from the surrounding stromal cell. And the new vascularization or the new blood vessel formed in the tumor cells are abnormal because the new blood vessels they are more leaky, they are dilated, and they grow in a haphazard manner. And the new blood vessel they supply oxygen and nutrient towards the tumor cell, and similarly they also remove the metabolic waste products. Similarly, the new blood vessel they releases certain growth factors like basic fibroblast growth factors and the platelets derived growth factors, which causes the growth of the adjacent tumor cell. Similarly, the new blood vessels they are also involved in the metastasis of the tumor from the primary side toward the secondary side. About the factors that affecting the angiogenesis. The first one is the hypoxia that occur due to the oxygen decrease in the oxygen supply. And the hypoxia they stimulate the release of the hypoxia inducible factor alpha, which stimulate the transcription of the vascular endothelial growth factor and the basic fibroblast growth factors. And these two growth factors they stimulate the process of the angiogenesis. The second one is the mutation in the tumor suppressor gene and the ANCU gene. So the first one is tumor suppressor gene. Normally, a tumor suppressor gene they inhibit the process of the angiogenesis, and the commonly involved tumor suppressor gene is p53 gene. And the tumor suppressor gene they inhibit angiogenesis by increasing the concentration of anti-angiogenic factors and decreases the concentration of the angiogenic factors. But in cancer cell, there is loss of function mutation in p53 gene, and there will be no inhibition of the angiogenesis and will lead to the formation of the new blood vessel. The second one is the oncogene. The oncogene they promote the process of angiogenesis. If there is gain of function mutation in the oncogene, then there will be more angiogenesis occur. And the oncogenes they include the RAS gene and the MYC gene. And this gene they causes the transcription and activation of the vascular endothelial growth factors, which stimulate the process of the angiogenesis. To inhibit the angiogenesis process, we give the vascular endothelial growth factor blockers are the VEGF inhibitor, and the most common VEGF inhibitor is the bevacizumab. So if we give this drug, they will inhibit the process of the angiogenesis and will reduces the new plastic growth. The third factors that control the process of angiogenesis is the proteases. Normally, these proteases are released from the stromal cell and the tumor cell, and these proteases they regulate the balance between the pro-apoptotic and the anti-apoptotic factors. The proteases stimulate the release of the basic fibroblast growth factors from the extracellular matrix, which stimulate the process of the angiogenesis. Similarly, the proteases also causes the proteolytic breakdown of the collagenases and plasminogen, which releases the angiostatin and the endostatin, and these two they inhibit the process of the angiogenesis. But in cancer cell, this balance is lost, and there is an increase in the concentration of the basic fibroblast growth factors and the vascular endothelial growth factors, and which leads toward the stimulation of the angiogenesis. So the next hallmark is the invasion and the metastasis. Invasion means the infiltration of the cancer cell into the nearby tissues by rupturing the basement membrane and the extracellular matrix. And the metastasis means the spread of the cancer cell from the primary side towards the secondary side, where they develop as a secondary metastatic tumor. And the metastasis occur to the blood, lymphatic system, and the body cavity. The invasion in metastasis is a complex and multi-step process, and the growth of cancerous cell the tumor cell has to avoid the local immune responses, and similarly, the tumor cell also has to adapt to the local new microenvironment. Let's suppose these are the tumor cell, this is a basement membrane, and this is extracellular matrix, and these are the blood vessel. Initially, there is separation of the tumor cell occur, and these tumor cell then they break down the basement membrane and enters into the extracellular matrix. From the extracellular matrix, these tumor cell they break down the vascular basement membrane and enters into the blood vessel. And the blood vessel, these tumor cell they disseminate toward the descent side, and at the descent side, these tumor cell they extravasate by breaking down the vascular basement membrane and enters into the other tissue where they develop as a secondary metastatic tumor. So the first one is the invasion. Invasion means the infiltration into the nearby tissues and attack and post step. Initially, there is loosening and the separation of tumor cell occur from each other, and then there is degradation of basement membrane and the extracellular matrix by the tumor cell. And the third one is attachment of the tumor cell to the remodeled extracellular matrix, and the fourth one is the migration and invasion of the tumor cell. So the first one is loosening of the tumor cell. Then normally the cell they expresses the E-cadherin molecule, and these E-cadherins are the adhesion molecule, and this E-cadherin they attaches the cell with each other. Similarly, the E-cadherin they inhibit the beta-catenin from the activation and prevent the cellular proliferation. But in cancer cell, there is downregulation of the E-cadherin occur, and this downregulation occur due to a loss of function mutation in the E-cadherin. There is activation of certain transcription factors occur like SNELs and the Twist gene, and these genes are activated. They inhibit the E-cadherin expression, and similarly, they also causes epithelial to the mesenchymal transition. The next one is the degradation of the basement membrane and the extracellular matrix. So the degradation of basement membrane is the second step in the invasion, and the degradation occurs due to the secretion of the proteolytic enzymes, and these proteolytic enzymes are secreted from the tumor cells and the stromal cells, and these proteolytic enzymes include matrix metalloperoxidase, cathepsin D, urokinesis, plasminogen activator, and these proteases they help in the invasion by breaking down the basement membrane and the extracellular matrix, and the most common protease is the matrix metalloperoxidase 9, because this matrix metalloperoxidase 9 causes the breakdown of the collagen type 4, which is found in the basement membrane. And similarly, this enzyme also causes the release of the vascular endothelial growth factors, which stimulate angiogenesis. Similarly, it also causes the release of certain cleavage products and the chemokines, which promotes the growth of the cancer cell. The third step in the invasion is attachment of the tumor cell to the V-model extracellular matrix. Normally, the cell they expresses certain adhesion molecule at the basal surface, like they express laminin receptors and the fibrinonectin receptors. The laminin receptors they bind to the laminin of the basement membrane, and the fibrinonectin they bind to the collagen type 4 of the basement membrane, and this way they maintain the cellular polarity. But if the polarity is lost in normal cell, then they will undergo apoptosis. But in tumor cell, when these adhesion molecules are lost and the cellular polarity is lost, that there will be no apoptosis occur. So in tumor cell, the apoptosis is evaded. So the tumor cell they stimulate the matrix metalloperoxidase 2 and 9, and this enzyme causes the breakdown of the basement membrane and the extracellular matrix, and they also modify the extracellular matrix, and they create certain novel sites to which the tumor cell bind and stimulate the migration. The fourth step is the migration and invasion. So migration is the final step of the invasion, which propel the tumor cell from the extracellular matrix and to the blood vessel, and the migration occur due to the tumor cell derived cytokines and chemokines, and these cytokines and chemokines are released from the tumor cell and act on the tumor cell, so they are autocrine in action. And similarly, the migration also occurs due to the stromal derived growth factors, and these growth factors are released from the stromal cell, but they act on the tumor cell and are paracrine in action. The next step is the vascular dissemination, homing, and the colonization of the metastatic tumor cell. Once the cancer cell they enters into the circulation, they spread toward the descent side. But inside the circulation, these cancer cells are vulnerable to destruction by the host immune cell like neutrophils, macrophages, and lymphocytes. They may react against the tumor cell and destroy it. And similarly, this tumor cell may be destroyed due to the mechanical stresses. So how the metastatic tumor cell survive inside the circulation? So the tumor cell they undergo clumping with each other, and they form the tumor emboli, and these tumor emboli are formed due to the activation of the platelets and the factor 12, which stabilizes the tumor emboli, and these tumor emboli then spread inside the blood vessel toward the descent site, where the tumor emboli they adhere to the vascular endothelium and they penetrate the vascular basement membrane and they come out of the blood vessel as a secondary metastatic deposit or secondary metastatic tumor. And the growth of the secondary metastatic tumor there depends upon the stromal support at the distant site and also the evasion of the local immune responses. Sometimes the tumors they do not find the proper stromal support and they do not evade the local immune response and there may be activation of the immune response against the tumor cell and they cause a conversion of the tumor cell into the dormant form, which is the inactive form of the tumor. The process of the metastasis depends upon anatomical position, vascular and lymphatic drainage, tropism, and the escape from the dormancy. The first one is the anatomical position. So most of the cancer cells they metastasize toward the nearby tissue, like a breast cancer, they spread toward the lungs. A second one is the vascular and the lymphatic drainage. So most of the cancer cells they spread toward the organ where the blood supply is more. The cancer cell they spread toward the nearby lymph node, like the colon cancer, we spread toward the liver because the blood supply toward the liver is more. The third one is the tropism. Tropism means the spread of the tumor cell toward a specific organ instead of the nearby tissues because these specific organs have high affinity for the tumor cell, like the bronchogenic carcinoma will spread toward the adrenal gland and the brain, and similarly the prostate cancer will spread toward the bones. अब बात करते हैं about the mechanism involved in the tropism. The first one is the tumor cell they express a certain adhesion molecules on the surface and the receptor for these adhesion molecules are present in a specific organs. So the tumor cell they will spread toward a particular organ. Similarly, the tumor cell they also have chemokine receptors on the surface, and these chemokine receptors they guide the tumor cell toward the tissues or the organs releasing the chemokine. And the fourth one is the escape of the tumor cell from the dormancy. Sometimes the tumor cell they metastasize, but they fail to go because they do not find the proper stromal support or there may be activation of the local immune response occur, which causes the conversion of the tumor cell into the dormant form. So for a metastatic tumor cell to go, they must escape the dormancy. And the last one is the rare site of the metastasis. So the spleen and the skeletal muscle are the rare sites for the metastasis because these sites are unfavorable for the tumor's growth in spite of having the rich blood supply.